Ferrari models you can afford. Hello and welcome back to MIA Luxury Cars. For today's video, we are going to talk about the cheap Ferrari models you can afford. Let's get started. Ferrari Mondial. You can live the high life for less than most modern cars with a much maligned, no fan favorite but nevertheless honest and real Ferrari. The Ferrari Mondial, the least loved Faisal, will make you feel like $1,000,000 for about 20 grand. And if you finance that out of like a ton of months, that's like 377 a month, you'll feel like you're driving on a Malfi coast sitting on rich Italian leather, while a 266 horsepower V8 screams the back seat. But the bad news is that the 8-cylinder will take up a whole 9 seconds to get you from 0 to 60 miles per hour. Sure, it's not going to get you anywhere fast, but its turtle-like pace will go onlookers more like to see you and you're new to you to re-cruising by the in-style. Just to remember to rock some red bands to keep blocking out the haters, and that's just for the cheapest example. You can get a great example of the Mondial for just about 30k. Like this red 1989 Mondial T with a drop time, so you're probably asking why are these so affordable? Well, among the Ferrari elitists, the money all it's not their favorite Top Gear. Even named it one of the most and worst cars in the history of the world. But let me tell you why they're all wrong. Sharing its powertrain with the iconic 308 and 328, the Mondial is actually fairly reliable and cheap to maintain. Well, Ferrari owners report that they spent between $1,500 and $6,000 on maintenance per year, which is roughly the cost of a set of tires on your Ferrari 488. So I'd say that's a pretty good deal for the maintenance, not the tires that's expensive way to do expensive. And the best part is even though these are the cheapest Ferrari that you can buy right now, that might not always be the case. Owners and enthusiasts thinks that these things are actually going to go up in price. So not only is it safe and reliable, it's also a smart investment or an ideal investment. The Mondial is probably the last Ferrari or last car anyone should ever buy. But if you have just got to have the pranking horse on your steering wheel without paying a pretty penny for it, the Mondial is the cheapest and slowest way to go. Ferrari 308. One of the most important Ferrari ever made is the 308, is the 1970s classic that is the essence of everything. Ferrari signifies even now, 50 years later, 2 seats, aggressive styling, and a big engine making a ton of noise and breaking a ton of necks. Unlike the man, y'all, you won't be left out of the parking lot at your local Cars and Coffee. And also, unlike the man, y'all, it doesn't take a fortnight to get from 0 to 60 miles per hour. It'll do it in roughly 7 seconds. And this Ferrari is not for the faint of heart. No traction control, no ABS, no storage space, no frills, and all of the thrills. The 308 is the true driver's car. It's just you 8 cylinders roaring in the open road. And what does it cost to drive a piece of Italian history? About 40 stacks? I know. 40k isn't cheap, but hey, this is a list of cheap Ferraris, not cheap Corollas. Ferrari 348. These 348 are the Pininfarina designed body lines with the steels and vents, the wide rear end, and the pop-up headlights. These things just lose Italian style from everybody. Panel, and if you're not a Ferrari fanboy, you'd probably be fooled into thinking this is much more highly coveted Testarossa. Depending on who you ask, the 348 is either a winner or a sinner. But if you ask me, I think they got a bad rap. 300 Italian horses running through a 32-valve 3.4-liter quad-cam V8, pushing this beauty from 0 to 16, about 6 seconds into a top speed near 170 miles per hour. Sure, they don't have a lot of clout now, but back in the early 90s, these things shook the automotive world. It is one of the best shows at the Frankfurt Auto Show, and wrote a track called it one of the best top 10 cars in the world. Prices for 348 ranges wildly, but you can pick one up for around 45,000 bucks. That's a small price to pay to saddle up in the wicked fast Ferrari. Just make sure that you got another 45 grand in your pocket. All I got is lint to make sure that you can stay up on maintenance on that Italian stallion. Really, who's thinking about maintenance? Cost when you're driving something around that looks so good. Ferrari F355. So this list has been a bit sluggish. You want to go a bit faster? How about the 375 horsepower and a 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds? The F355 is the sequel to the 348 and it's pretty much better in every single way. It's faster, way faster, with nearly 100 more horsepower, more valves per cylinder, lightweight engine materials, and a body coat by over 1,300 Rs. In a wind tunnel, this is the first car on this list that is true per Ferrari, fast with a smooth aerodynamic lines we've come to expect from Ferrari. The F355 look as good as today as it did 25 years ago. Remember that douchebag earlier? Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but if you can afford to use Sutra, you can afford that Ferrari. You can get one of these smoke and fast F355S for under 50 grand. It's still loose to a fully built 2JZ Supra, but at least you look like you make more money in the parking lot afterwards, which, let's be honest, that's what Ferrari boys care about. Maserati Quattroporte. Maserati, that's not a Ferrari, they're competitors true, but hear me out. For 2002 until this day, Maseratis have a little big secret. Under their hood, they're powered by Ferrari, and a big boy Quattroporte is probably the cheapest supercar right now. With a decent example going for seriously $12,000, 400 horsepower Ferrari built V8, 6-speed transmission 0 to 16 about 5 seconds, and maxing out at over 170 miles per hour. Why? Why are these so cheap? The good news is yes, for the price of its used price, you get one hell of an Italian rocket sled with the heart and soul of a real Ferrari. You get all the amenities, comfort, and style that come with it, but you also get the Quattroporte's notorious reliability record. These things are maintenance nightmares. Prepare to spend fat wads of cash at the dealership on things like $5,000 brake jobs. If you're not ready to get your hands dirty doing it yourself, but if you're not afraid to crack open a repair manual and know what you're doing around a torque wrench, the Maserati Quattroporte is dollar for dollar. The heaviest hitter and the lightest net, and though your wallet might farm. Ferrari 360. If you can afford around 45 grand, you can drive around in this screaming fast Italian thoroughbird that was made in this millennium. No one will believe that you pay the cost of a lightly used BMW to own one of the best Ferraris ever built. This side of Y2K, an aluminum space frame chassis, an iconic body designed by Pininfarina, a monster of a 3.6-liter V8, pumping out 400 ponies and rocketing the 360 up to 60 miles an hour in 4.5 seconds and onwards to 175 miles per hour. Now, what can you say about these cheap Ferrari models? What car on this list would want to buy or would you own? Please let me know by leaving a comment below, and if you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you for stopping by to watch. See you on our next video.